Hi, my name is Sydney Call, and I am a nutritional therapy practitioner. My specialty doesn't lie in treating disease, but my specialty lies in optimizing health by giving the body the nutrients that it needs. I've made a series of videos about how you can do this in your life. It usually takes change, and change takes energy. And so my question is, why do we do it? I'd like to answer that question with a story of Francis Pottenger. He was a man that lived in the early 1900s, and he performed an experiment on cats. And he split the cats into 4 groups, and he gave all of the cats 30% of their diet as raw, animal-based food. And the remaining 70% varied from group to group. So the first group received the remaining 70% of their diet as more raw, animal-based food. The second group received 70% of their diet as pasteurized milk. The third group received 70% of their diet as evaporated milk. And the last group received 70% of their diet as sweetened condensed milk. So it was the most processed and with the addition of sugar. As you might guess, so I'll just simplify the outcome of the study, but as you might imagine, the first generation continued in normal health from generation to generation. The remaining 3 groups had a different outcome. The first generation that received a majority of processed in their diet had less energy towards the end of their life, and they also had more diseases. The second generation, you would think that it would follow in the same pattern, that it would be healthy at the beginning of their life, and that they would, like the first generation, have less energy and more diseases towards the end of their life. But that wasn't the case. They were much worse than the first generation. Their diseases began much sooner. They had a dramatic change in their energy level and even in their skeletal structure. They had a change in their reflexes and in their social skills. They had changes in their organs so that they had more organ diseases. And then the third generation was the most distressing. In the third generation, they had the most skeletal deformations. They had much earlier and dramatic disease processes. They had allergies. They had shortened lifespans. And the saddest part is that they could not reproduce. And those that could reproduce could only have stillborn litters. So at this point in the diet with this in the experiment with this third generation, they changed all of their diets to an all raw, 100% raw, like the first group of cats. And there was dramatic changes in their health. And they could reproduce, and there was a reversal of these diseases. But it took 4 generations to recover health to the level that they were at the beginning. So the 2 things that I'd like to point out about this, well, first of all, we're not cats. I'm not advocating an all raw diet, nor am I advocating an all animal-based diet. But we just have a scary, similar pattern in our society. And so the 2 points I'd like to make about this study are, first, that health does not start fresh with every generation. In our current society, something that Francis Pottenger couldn't have known about is the study of epigenetics. And epigenetics is where our genetic expression is affected by our environment. So we might have certain genes that might tend towards certain diseases, but it all depends on the environment that you're in. If you're in a toxic environment, if you're eating junky food, if you're highly stressed, then certain genes might be turned on that otherwise wouldn't have been. And not only that, but this expression of genes can be passed on so that the expression of health is worse with each generation. So the first point is that health does not start over with each generation. And when you think about the history of our society, the toxic environment didn't start this decade. So the second point is that this scary situation is reversible, but it takes effort. So some of the signs and symptoms that you'll see as you look around in our society that might be connected or similar to the cats in Princess Pottinger's experiment are they had cancer. We have a lot of cancer, we have a lot of heart disease, we have a lot of autoimmune disease, we have a lot of obesity and allergies and mental health issues and structural issues and skin issues and organ issues and energy issues and infertility issues, and the list could go on. So as you may notice some of these things or symptoms in your own families and friends and generation and maybe in yourself, I would like you to think about what generation you are in of Pottinger's cats and also what you are going to do about it. I would like to suggest that your body has an innate wisdom that will naturally want to create health for you, but your body has certain requirements, and I've created other videos that talk about these requirements to establish health. It takes energy, change takes energy, and it's not easy, and there's a lot of trial and error. And so I would suggest that you should think about what it is that you want in your life and use that as your motivation, and also take people along the journey with you so you don't do it alone and you can affect their life for the better. In my other videos, I'll talk about what we like to call the foundations of health. And the foundation of these foundations is diet. So in the next video, we'll talk all about diet. See you then.